My kids knew about my wife's affair and helped her cover it up. Last week while my wife, 49F, was taking a shower I, 50M, saw a notification pop up on her phone and went to open it thinking it was one of our daughters, Maddie 24F and Alice 26F, confirming what time their girls' dinner was. Instead I saw an unsaved number saying I can't wait to see you, and then kissing emoji. I froze for a second. I clicked on the message and saw a short thread mostly confirming dinner plans for that evening and how they missed each other and once a week just wasn't enough. I knew what I saw. 29 years of marriage down the drain. Hoping to catch her in a lie before she left the house, I texted both our daughters and asked them about girls' dinner. What happened next broke me to my core. Both girls confirmed the dinner and said they were excited. I couldn't believe it. Not proud of what came next, I turned her location sharing on with me and her phone and let her leave. I followed her to a restaurant and lo and behold neither daughter was there but instead a man I knew was her boss. I was so heartbroken. Part of me was hoping I was just a paranoid freak and my daughters would be there happy to see me. But no. Just my cheating wife and her AP. I took pictures of the two of them holding hands. And kissing. I know I should have waited but I couldn't help myself. I was so angry. As soon as I got in my car, I opened the group chat we had as a family. Sent them all the photos and said glad you're enjoying girls' dinner together. I then turned my phone off and drove to my brother's house and asked to stay the night. I woke up the next morning to over 40 texts and 20 voicemails. My wife went through the cheater's playbook of excuses. I didn't even listen to her voicemails. I was about to respond with, I will be getting a divorce. I recommend a lawyer. But my brother stopped me. He told me to meet with a bunch of lawyers first and make sure she couldn't use them. Instead I just sent the group chat a simple message, I am physically fine. But need time. I will come home when I'm ready. I then muted my phone. I called different lawyers that looked to be the best in town that morning for appointments. Met with all of them. And picked the one who looked ready to treat this as scorched earth as possible. Finally, after spending all day with lawyers, I looked through the messages and both my daughters were apologizing. My younger daughter, the daddy's girl of the two, was manic. She had texted me almost 50 times saying she never should have lied and hated it every time. Her boyfriend even reached out asking me to please reach out to her. That he didn't know what was going on but that she was on the verge of a panic attack. Maddie, I love you but please understand that what you've done has hurt me deeply. I need you to give me space. I sent it and within seconds got a okay. I'm so sorry. I never should have helped. I'll never forgive myself. I love you too. I didn't respond. Alice was different. We always had a good relationship but she was a mama's girl through and through. She said she was sorry but that I shouldn't throw away a good marriage because of one mistake. This made me furious. Alice, this isn't a mistake. This is a betrayal. From my whole family. Please don't reach out again until I make first contact. She never responded but I know she showed it to me STBX because she started saying that I shouldn't take this out on Alice. I never responded. I'll never talk to her again except through lawyers. This all happened 5 days ago. I'm still at my brother's and can't contain my feelings. I cry every morning and most of the day. I oscillate between complete debilitating sadness and all-consuming anger. Losing my wife will be hard enough but how do I ever look at my children again? How do I even begin to forgive them? Alice is supposed to get married in the fall. I've been paying for almost everything. Now I'm probably not going to go. I don't even know how to move forward. I am completely destroyed. Update 1. I can't believe it's been a year since my original post. Some days it feels like it just happened yesterday and others I feel like it's always happened. There was never before. My soon-to-be ex-wife, Julie 50F, and I are still going through the divorce proceedings. We were forced to do a 6-month legal separation before we could start the divorce. I moved back home after a week and a half with my brothers. I served her with the legal separation a week later to ensure I had re-established that our house was still my home location. The terms were absolute hell. We had 1 year left on the mortgage so whoever was going to stay at the house was supposed to pay the full amount for the year. Of course because she had been a stay-at-home mom 20 years ago until Maddie started pre-K, her decision that I was against. She used that against me. And she was allowed to stay at the house but we split the mortgage. I ended up moving into a 1-bedroom apartment. That's where I'm writing this now. Maddie and I made up somewhat quickly. She came to the house and refused to leave until I talked to her. She didn't throw a fit or anything. She just wouldn't leave. This went on for a couple of weeks. Her boyfriend was annoyed. He kept coming over and hated the awkwardness but she would just say in front of Julie and I that she would not return to their apartment until she and I were talking again. At the time it was really annoying. I hated being there and Julie and I were fighting over the legal separation. But I eventually unleashed some frustration onto Maddie and she told me how she found out. Apparently at an actual girls' dinner 2 weeks prior to my finding out. Julie was quite drunk and let it slip. Alice tried to stop her but couldn't. Alice and Julie begged her to keep quiet until Julie could come clean to me. Maddie was crying as she said this and told me she now realizes that her mom had no intention of ever telling me. The girls' dinner lie was the first time she had lied to me about the affair, and according to her mom, she was going to break it off with the AP and then tell me that night. We were both crying and Julie came in trying to defend herself, and I unleashed all of my anger. I yelled like I had never done before. Maddie even had to calm me down. She didn't just manipulate me. She straight up used at least one of our daughters. It was unforgivable. That's when I just agreed to the mortgage split to get Maddie and I out of that house. Maddie moved back in with her BF that night and I found my current apartment. Maddie decorated it for me. Alice and I, unfortunately, are not on speaking terms. After the fallout, her fiancé called me and asked what was going on. He suspected that she was cheating. I told him that I had no reason to suspect that she was cheating, but that my wife had cheated on me, and Alice knew before me. Not sure exactly what happened next, but it ended in them breaking up. Alice blames me, saying I should not have told him anything. Since coming to my apartment in tears and blaming me for everything, she blocked me and we haven't spoken. I was able to get some money back from vendors I had dealt with directly, but I know Alice kept some of the money for herself. I still have no idea how long Alice knew of the affair, and her lack of remorse likely means we will never have a relationship again. Alice and Julie are currently living together at the house. Julie is openly dating her boss now. He left and went to another firm when I caught them. Scared he would lose his job. I'm embarrassed to say I am jealous. Not of the two of them. They will implode, I'm sure. But jealous of not being lonely. Maddie has been encouraging me to go out and helped me set up a dating profile. So awkward. She then called me a weirdo when my first match was with a 33-year-old single mom. We have a date planned for next week that Maddie encouraged me to go on. But I'm just not sure I'm ready to start over. Alice's update. Scrolling Reddit and did not expect to read my family's melodrama, but there it was. Our names had changed, but all the first letters were the same. After hearing my dad's update, I can't believe how little he still knows. I'd like to give my take just because it continues to eat me alive. Hard to know really where to start, but I guess I'll start when my life changes. I was 16. My parents had bought me a car, and so when I forgot my backpack one morning, I decided to go home without calling anyone. No one should have been home. But we all know where this story goes. Not only was my mom home, but so was her boss, as my dad called him. His actual name is Mike. They were fooling around in the living room and not thinking, I just charged in without a second thought. That picture is still ingrained in my brain. I saw more of Mike and my mom than I've ever wanted to see, and it haunts me to this day. I had a near panic attack right there. I yelled. I cried, but most importantly I asked about Dad and said he needed to know now. My mom and Mike worked to calm me down, but I wasn't having it. Eventually Mike left as I kept trying to attack him, and I moved to leave as well to tell my dad. But then my mom stopped me with the worst thing I've ever heard her say. Mike is your father. I turned around stunned while my mom looked embarrassed and motioned me onto the couch. Turns out Mike was my mom's boyfriend before she met my dad. He refused to commit. Constantly cheated. For a little while they tried an open relationship, but mom didn't want anyone but him, and he wanted anyone he could get his hands on. Mom eventually found someone she liked in my dad, but never really ended things with Mike. He was her true love. He didn't really care that she was getting married or that she had kids. Every once in a while they would have a fight and break up, but never for long. She had DNA tests done on both Maddie and I, and while Maddie is my dad's, I'm Mike's. She said Mike is willing to have a relationship with me if I want it, but I didn't want one then, and I wish I didn't have one now. I've never fully recovered from this revelation. It's like half of me was removed and nothing was replaced. Why didn't I tell my dad? I didn't want to lose him. If he found out, I was sure he would eventually find out about not being my father, and then I would lose him forever. When my stupid mom blurted it out at dinner, I knew I would lose him, and I did. She had become so careless. As Mike aged, he became attached to my mom more, and she took it as a sign that he was ready to commit. I'm sure she left out her phone on purpose for Dad to find. Joke's on her though. When the divorce was finalized, Mike paid my dad's half of the mortgage and moved into my childhood home. He brought his pregnant girlfriend with him. My mom was heartbroken, but she's so weak she just let it happen. He still does whatever he wants and leaves my mom to care for her. It'd be funny if I didn't still see her, since she's the only family that will talk to me. And if I haven't turned into her. I always thought I was better than her, but then Brad, my ex-fiancé, left because my dad told him about what I knew, and he accused me of cheating like her and left. I never cheated on him. Well, at that point, now we cheat together. I found he had a girlfriend and texted him in a weak and dumb moment. He came over and had sex with me. I thought we were back. I kept telling him how much I missed him. But he put his hand up and said he wasn't leaving his girlfriend, but he was willing to come over occasionally. I never thought I'd become this weak, but I said yes. I needed someone to care about me and love me, even if it's just for the night. I've never been so miserable. So alone and so empty. I love my dad. I love Maddie. I just want my life back. It's so unfair. I know what I did was wrong. I know it was selfish, but damn it, I was scared, and I was right to be scared. Exactly what I feared would happen. Happened. Final update. Hey all. Sorry for the long delay in updating. So much has happened and I'm just now getting to a place where I can process it all. After many of you alerted me to Alice's post, I rushed over to her house. I banged on her apartment door until she let me in. She was bracing for a fight, but I just held her in a tight hug. Everything she had held in. Everything she had been through. I felt like she let it out over the next 2 hours. It was insane. I told her that no matter what, she was my daughter and we will get past this. It hasn't been easy. Alice, Maddie and I all go to family therapy together and I have my individual sessions and they are difficult. I know Alice has been through a lot and she was just a kid, but the betrayal is still so much. When she is not around I get so angry at her, but then I'm around her and I remember she is just a human being like the rest of us. The guilt, shame and lies have eaten at her. She finally dumped that 2-timing loser ex of hers, but Maddie tells me she is not handling dating well. Total shit show. I'm paying for her and Maddie's therapy and I hope she can get better. Maddie and her boyfriend got engaged. He's been a real trooper with all our family has been through, and I knew he loved her when he just accepted everything she needed with the family. He always showed up, always was there and has helped her through everything. I'm so happy for them. Julie is a shit show and I can't help but laugh. As you know, Mike brought home his girlfriend and basically made Julie take care of her, which she did. She just does whatever he wants and he wants her to do everything. I was out on a date the other night and saw Mike with some other woman. I'm sure Julie knew and I just think it's hilarious. She will do anything for him and he won't do anything for her. His girlfriend had the kid and then she split apparently. Mike is making Julie take care of a newborn and as far as I know, she's just doing it without question. She quit her job to be a stay-at-home cuckween, I guess. She's not even close to the woman I thought I knew. She's so dependent on him now that he could do whatever he wants and she will accept it. She's tried calling me twice, but it's not my circus. She made her choices and she'll have to live with them. As for me, I've probably become less sympathetic and more the asshole. I went out with a single mom for a while, but all the drama with Alice turned her off and she just didn't want her kids exposed to any drama. Fair enough. With all the issues with Alice, I got more in touch with her friends and one of them, a coworker who is a few years older, started flirting with me and asked me out. We went out a few times and started dating last month. Alice is not happy about it, I can tell, and Maddie thinks our age gap is weird but hasn't stopped talking to me or anything. We'll see where it goes. Right now my daughters will not confront me because of their actions. Life will never be the same. I'm more cynical than I was. But I have my daughters back and I think I'll be alright.
News story. Today I paid for a stranger's groceries. Today I was in a long line for the checkout. I live in Florida and the lines are long with this hurricane on the way. There was a guy in front of us holding the line up. I asked my wife what was going on to stall the line. She said it looks like this guy had his card declined. She points to the guy, he was 2 ahead of us. At this time, the manager came out and voided the transaction. The guy was with his daughter, approximately 10 years old. His clothes were a little tight and had stains on them. His daughter was dressed like her clothes came from Walmart or a thrift shop. I'm not judging, just trying to create the actual scene. The guy was staring at his phone, very embarrassed and frustrated. I told my wife we had to pay for his food without a thought, wondering how to do this without bringing more attention to the guy or to us. I jumped out of line and asked the manager what the issue was with the guy because I would pay for his food if his card was declined. She told me she wasn't sure what the issue was, but it was card-related. At this time, people start looking and I was trying not to create attention. Now, I don't care what the reason is because they're obviously not giving the guy the food, so the guy and his daughter started walking out of the store empty. I call out to the guy from behind, trying to stop him. Hey buddy, excuse me? Come on back in here, let me help you." He looks at me confused. I was watching the whole time. He comes back in and the employees are taking his cart to reshelf the food he tried to buy. I tell the customer service I'll pay for his food. I didn't even know how much it was. Didn't matter. I pay the bill. It was only about $60. The guy tries to hand me a little cash. Maybe he's a little embarrassed. I smile and shake his hand. Tell him, no way. He hugs me. He hugged me. My wife runs out of the store crying. I am not telling this story to brag or for any other reason except to explain my view on this. I believe that I had no choice but to pay for his groceries. I am in a position to do it, and I feel that it is our duty to help each other in this life when given the chance. We rarely have opportunities in life to assist our fellow humans, resulting in a direct positive impact that we can feel. It matters not the cost. Yes, I know there are a lot of charities to which one can donate, but you rarely feel the impact of your donation. There is usually high overhead, and a fraction of your donation actually goes to help. I feel incredibly sad that people suffer, can't buy food, etc. I feel incredibly fortunate for my life. Looking back, I wish I'd done more. I would have bought him some gift cards for the food store. I think sometimes we are caught up in our own lives and don't realize that people standing right next to us are struggling, suffering. I will be on the lookout to help less fortunate people more often, and I will be less absorbed in my own life, which will give me this opportunity.